Hey guys, it's Raul.
And Melanie. And we just had our Disney fairy tale wedding planning session here in California, and we wanted to talk to you guys about it so that you know what to expect if you decide to have a Disney fairy tale wedding yourself.
So, in case you guys didn't see, our weekend vlog that we posted up, we actually left our house. We had our appointment at 10 a.m., but we had a previous engagement with somebody else, with an officiant that we were looking into.
Which we'll get into later.
Yeah. And so traffic was not too bad. Coming from the foothills of the San Gabriel Valley, it wasn't too bad. So traffic wasn't too bad getting into Disneyland. And the morning rush also to Disneyland wasn't bad at all.
Because at that point, the parks had already been open for a while. So it was kind of, all of the tourists were already there. The locals weren't. It was pretty chill out around the resort. But we had to go to the big orange building.
Also known as Bob.
Mm-hmm. So it was pretty easy to get there. We showed up a little bit early because we had this other meeting. Mm-hmm. Once we got to the big orange building, all we had to do was tell the front desk, which is actually Disney Vacation Club.
Yes, they're also Disney. So we mentioned in our weekend vlog that Bob actually houses not only the vacation club, but also the vendors go in there to sign their contracts if they're partnered with Disney.
Yeah, and then if some company wants to have like a company retreat at a Disney resort or something, all of that like large group booking type stuff is done at this orange building. So we told them we were there, and our planner came with an assistant, and then we went into the hotel, the Disneyland Hotel, which is right next door, to go meet with the florist and decor specialist.
We wish we could have taken video of it.
Well, we would have, but my mom was there, and it would have been rude to the planners and stuff. But the room was gorgeous.
The room was amazing. It was pretty interesting. It was basically, if you guys saw the Disney's Fairy Tale Weddings special on Freeform, you guys would have seen a glimpse of it.
Like the Cinderella's crystal everything, light blue is their color scheme. Like that, their color is that light blue.
Yeah.
It was just everywhere, but they made this conference room in the Disneyland Hotel in the Frontierland Tower too, because it's like right next door.
Yeah.
They just turned it into this beautiful little like wedding room, and so there was a table in the middle, and the three of them sat across from the three of us, being us two and my mom. So it was really nice little setup.
Yeah.
And so then our planner pulled up basically the banquet event order, which is how the day is going to go. Not just the day of, but the day before. Basically, it's a breakdown of all of our plans based on what part of the day it is. So there's the rehearsal dinner, prep the day before, like us getting ready individually. So she kind of walked through it, and she was basically like, sorry, my part's the boring part.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't, because I had a million questions. But then after she was done with the logistical stuff, that's when we got to talk to the decor specialist.
That's one thing where she was a little overbearing.
I feel really bad. I emailed with her today, and she seemed like she actually was like, no, you're really sweet. I'm glad I met you. And I was like, really? I thought I scared you.
No. Their look of terror when you pulled out that binder and you started telling them, I want this and 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 this. And they were kind of like,
I'm not a bridezilla. Bridezilla is evil, chaotic evil. I am the opposite type of evil bride.
But it was a little overwhelming for them, I will say. Yeah.
That's the thing. We've just been over-prepared because we want to make sure that it's the perfect day. I mean, if you're spending enough on it, it should be perfect. I probably could have toned it down a little bit because they definitely had good ideas. I ditched a couple of ideas I brought in because they should have been cooler, like the party favors.
Yes. We had been looking into party favors for a very long time, and to weddings that we have been to, weddings that we had attended before separately, we had looked into party favors that could be both useful and memorable at the same time.
Yes, and I had kind of ruled out edible party favors because I thought, well, if it's edible, it's not permanent. Yeah. But they showed us a chocolate that I think would be very cool. It's customizable, it's fun, it's memorable, and it's us.
And
so that was something I was surprised about. Like, don't get too attached to your ideas because they might change.
That was one of the greatest things that I loved about our three planners, was the fact that they posed an idea and they waited for you to respond to them, reciprocate. I'm interested, I'm not interested. They're very open on what you want.
Yes.
Especially when it came to your flower and decor person. He was very like, I understand what you want kind of thing. How about this? And he would give us examples of what he thought that she wanted.
Yeah, because we have a complex color scheme. That's
complex.
That's putting it lightly. I was trying to figure out ways to incorporate these really bright colors without being overbearing, and he had this great idea of having all the tablecloths be white, but then having each table have a different colored napkin to tie our color scheme into the flowers that we're having that are those colors. And that's the kind of idea I wouldn't have thought of. And between that and the clear with the trim chargers, like that's some great ideas. They definitely know what they're doing, and I was really happy. Like, I wasn't worried that Disney was going to provide us amateurs, but I was worried that my vision wasn't going to be translated so well when someone else was executing it, and I completely trust the guy who's in charge of that.
And that was her. I think this was one of the things that Melanie had trouble at first, was the fact that she didn't want to let go.
I didn't want to let someone else take care of my image in my head of what the wedding should look like.
Yes, and you were very adamant at the beginning. I did notice that. But slowly, they kind of start easing you into this confidence that you have with them.
They had to prove that I could trust them to make decisions for me. And when I saw their ideas and stuff.
Their ideas were really good off the bat, but I felt that you were a little bit hesitant to get there.
Yeah.
But you got there. Once you got there, you're totally on board.
Because one thing I didn't know what I wanted was the bouquet, like the actual bouquet. And that was something we got to like almost halfway into the meeting. And when he started showing me flower options and different style ideas and examples and stuff, that's when I kind of realized, like, okay, from between the printout of my first, like, I made like a slideshow to show to our sales manager when we first booked this.
Yeah.
Between that slideshow, they had copies of the wedding website that I had sent to our planner ahead of time so that you could see my work in progress.
Yeah.
And then and also my binder, I could tell that they had a really good understanding of who I am, which was the most important thing. If they were going to figure out what we wanted, they have to understand who we are as a couple. So after listening for an hour, they had an idea of who we were. And so he started showing us a lot of bouquets that are very loose and foresty, with a lot of greenery tied in with just a few bright flowers and then white. It was like, okay, I now understand. They understand us. And we can let go and let them plan some of these things.
One of the things that we did learn, and I think that we went into this meeting not knowing very well, was the fact that we believed it was going to be a 4-hour meeting, like Disney World, but it was not.
Because most of the podcasts and things, they say like, oh, we had a 4-hour planning session where we talked through all of this stuff. It's only 2 hours, and our planner didn't really express that at all until like the very end. She's like, I do have another meeting. And I was like, wait, we only had 2 hours. Okay, well, at least I talk really fast and I put it all out there. So it's not like we missed out. I don't think we missed out at all.
No. I also think that it wasn't the fact that she wanted to rush or anything. And she might have thought that, you knew that it was 2 hours. And so she tried to move it along to the 2-hour mark or the 2-hour schedule kind of thing. But you kept on slowing it down because you wanted to talk about
I think she
things.
should have said we have to be done by noon, because I would have been like, oh shoot, okay, we can skip this and this because I can email you later.
Yeah. It wasn't until later that she realized, like, oh, she's got way too much stuff that we need to go over.
Yeah.
For right now.
Well, it's not that we didn't finish anything though. So the assistant doesn't really say much. I think she was mostly just taking notes. We talked mostly to the floral and decor specialists, because they're the ones that have, like, it's harder when it's kind of like an art form when they want to make sure that they're interpreting right, whereas the actual planner, like, it was like, okay, what time do you want to start your rehearsal? Okay, great, done, next. We definitely had a lot of fun talking to him, I think.
Yeah.
Especially when it came to like the boutonnieres and stuff, because he was like, so what do you want? And he just looked at me, and I was like, don't look at me, I don't want to decide for you.
Yeah, he did help out quite a bit.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I didn't even know that I had to wear a boutonniere. I mean, I knew I had to wear something, but I wasn't sure what I was going to wear.
Yeah. And
so I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, and he had so many good ideas for making the party match too, like making sure that everyone within our wedding party was coordinating without matching. I'm excited to see, like, they're going to do like a drop now based on what we said we wanted and what we like, and it's actually going to include like a cost breakdown, more or less, saying if you want to have this at your ceremony, it'll cost this much extra. And there were a couple of add-ons that we're still like iffy on, so we're kind of waiting to see how much some of those things cost, and then we'll pick and choose our favorites. But in the meantime, we get to focus on the graphic design stuff because we want to get our save the dates and our invitations done sooner than later, and we still have not picked an officiate. Hopefully we can get a meeting with some potential officiates set up for this week or next week. It'll probably be on Skype because I don't think we want to go back to Disneyland to have another interview.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason we did it at Disney was convenience, honestly.
Yeah. What you cover when you do your Disney weddings planning session.
Yes.
So right off the bat, when you enter, as Melanie was saying, you get the day of schedules. Basically, you do your rehearsals, you do your day of your ceremony, you do your reception, and you do anything that gets added onto your reception, they go over it. Yeah, and it really is just the wedding planner trying to kind of figure out what the details are, even things that aren't necessarily things she would control. For example, she just wanted to know, do you know where you're going to have your rehearsal dinner? Obviously, she's not coordinating it if it's not through Disney, but she still just wanted to make sure that we had a plan, especially that it was going to work out with the timing of the actual rehearsal, because they will be there at the rehearsal to make sure that everything's working out all right, if there's last minute changes that have to be made. So she was really nice, and she was saying, if you haven't figured it out, no worries, just call me and tell me when you do make a reservation for a rehearsal dinner, and we'll make sure that it's going to work with the actual rehearsal. So it was that kind of thing. And then asking about the day of the ceremony. So you want to take pictures before the ceremony. Okay, so we have to have you in a dressing room at this time. Do you want to do it in the room? And we're like, yes, we want to have it in a hotel room. So it's just that kind of details. The planner mostly goes through the BEO, working out all those things. And they go in time order. So starting with the rehearsal, going to the ceremony. And then when she got to the ceremony, she took a pause and said, okay, now we're going to talk about ceremony floral and decor. Yes, and then they moved on to our decor person, and then he talked to you about all that. Like, I would say that she talked for like 20 minutes about the logistic stuff, and then we talked for like 25 minutes to the decor guy just about the ceremony. Pre-reception with the planner and the florist took a total of 20 minutes tops, because we were like, we're going to spend the least amount of time there. By the time 12:15 rolled around, that's when she made us tie things up, or wrap things up. Yeah. But we had really gone through everything, and at that point, it was mostly talking about, you know, bigger things like for bringing the presents back to the room, which luckily they do provide at the end of your reception. They have a bell service that will bring all of your wedding gifts and your cards and things to the room of your choice, but they'll only do it once. If you want to move it again, you have to pay bell services. Yeah. By the end of the session, though, we were very happy with, like, they were taking so many notes. Yeah. Yeah. They were taking notes because it was like planning stuff, you know, where it came down to, she wanted to talk about the decor for the tables, the centerpieces, etc. Yes. Because we're going to have Mickey and Minnie, they started taking notes down for, you know, when we were going to come in, when Mickey and Minnie should come in, what time they were going to come in at. Yeah. Oh no, funny story. I totally scared them. The moment I really scared them and I saw this was 5 minutes into our planning session. They were kind of just talking about like our entering the reception, like our entrance into the room. And I said, oh, I've already figured out how we want to tie in the song for Fantasmic. And I said it would start at 1902 in the song, and we would enter around 22:24 or something. And they just looked at me like... That's when I knew that they were a little taken back. In over their heads with how much I prepared for this. But, I mean, it doesn't help, though, that I spend all my time at home, which means I've had nothing but time to think about all this. So, like, I listened to Fantasmic several times to make sure I knew exactly how we wanted to make this work. And, obviously, they were a little surprised by all that, but
it's going to be worth it in the end, and especially because we still haven't even talked to the DJ about it. Like, everything's still up in the air. Like, there's a lot of things that are like, okay, we'll deal with it when we get to it. So, the entertainment, graphic designer, and we book the officiates ourselves. Honestly, it's like, from this point on, it's just little people here and there that we just gotta ask to do little things. And the majority of it's kind of done. And it's kind of scary to think, like, okay, we're 9 months out from the wedding.
Yeah.
And now it's mostly hands off. It's a little intimidating because it's like, I have to stop thinking about it 24/7.
Our thoughts and comments of the wedding planning session.
It was a lot of fun and very productive. And the only reason it was rushed, it wasn't because we didn't know that there was a time limit. It was because I was such an anxious mess that everything felt like it was being moved a mile a minute because I'm like, oh. So I think my tip would be breathe, calm down, and listen to them. I think I wish I'd listened to them more, but then again, there were a couple times where we were sitting there in silence and I'm like, so what are you doing now? What's happening now? Can I tell you about this other thing that I want to plan? So, like, breathe. But yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to our tasting now too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that's one where we actually get to like have fun with this.
Yeah.
So yay.
My thoughts and expectations. My thoughts are that take it slow, plan what you want to plan,
and budget your time based on.
Yes.
Like,
they will walk you through it. Basically, they will walk you through everything that needs to be planned out. If there are questions that you need, they will answer them for you. If they mostly do a big overview of what you're supposed to be getting, they're not going to go into little details of like, you know, I want to have on my linen, I want to have my name inscribed on these little things or something like that.
Well, more different than just that, like I got caught up on questions that they were like, well, that's something we don't have to worry about. Don't get caught up on little things, especially things that you know can get figured out later. The planning session should really just be about a
basic overview.
The overview and the details of the flowers and things, because the florist does need to get on that and decide. And I think he should be like sending us like a sample of stuff, so we'll get to approve it later.
Yeah.
But I mean, getting that is like the most important thing. So make sure you're really getting that step done.
We actually should be getting sometime soon a more in detail breakdown of what is expected for our wedding. Basically, it breaks down like what they're going to be using as flowers, what they're going to be using as linen, what kind of chairs we're going to be using,
who's going to be at the wedding,
who's going to be at the wedding,
who's going to be in the ceremony escorting who.
Yeah. Well, we're supposed to be getting another breakdown sometime soon. They said to give it a couple of days, or did they say a couple of weeks?
Honestly, it could be like a month and it wouldn't change the timeline.
That's true.
We have so much time. We kind of did our planning session on the earlier end. Like, they said do it 6 to 8 months in advance, and we said, can we do it 9? She was like, okay, sure. And I don't think there was any issues with it because our tastes aren't going to change. We knew what we wanted. Like, when we first talked about wedding stuff, like before we were talking about venues or anything, like the weekend that you proposed, we were kind of joking about what kind of wedding we want, and we basically agreed. Retro Disneyland, bright colors, but the slight rustic feel, something elegant, but geeky. And we've always known what we wanted. So that's why we didn't have any issue with doing it early.
We had a very productive wedding planning weekend.
Yeah, this is going to be a long video. Next week, not as much probably.
Probably not.
But I hope that this has been informative for someone. Maybe you learned something about the fairy tale weddings planning method, the way they organize things.
Or maybe you just like the entire thing and like the whole wedding planning thing.
Yeah, maybe you're just fascinated. I feel like when this is all said and done and we're looking back at these videos as a married couple, we're going to laugh that I was so stressed about a lot of things. And we're going to laugh that you were not stressed about things. So
I have to deal with more stressful things at work, so this is a little walk in the park for me.
I really hope that you eat those words later. So with that, this is the end.
See you real soon.